In this lecture, I'll be showing you a new feature that was added in from Tableau 10.5 and up, which is the Tooltip Viz option. Basically, what it lets you do is it lets you create a chart within a chart. So basically, right now, we are looking at sum of sales. We're looking at subcategory and its sales. So once we hover over this tooltip, we're going to notice that it is showing sales data for these different subcategories. What we can do is we can include another chart within this chart. So when the user were to hover over one of these different bars, they're going to notice data that is for this. So in order to make that work, we have created this basic chart in Tableau. So it just shows segment and sales. So in order to include this viz within our chart, all we would need to do is, so before we include it, let me tell you, when we include this viz within our chart, it will show us the segment sales data based on this subcategory once we hover over it. So it will show you the segment sales data for phones, chairs, storage, binders within this chart. So we wouldn't need to include two charts on our dashboard. We can just include one and include the second chart within the Viz tooltip option. So the way we include it is we're gonna go over to the tooltip. We're gonna go to insert, and you will see option if you have version 10.5 and up is which is says sheets. So basically we can include any of these sheets within our tooltip. So let's remove everything that we have currently in here, and let's go to insert sheets, and the sheet that we had created was sheet 9. So we're gonna go to sheet and select sheet 9. So from here we can customize it. We can change the width, height of the viz that will appear within this bar chart. So once we click on OK, and when we were to hover over one of these different bars, we're going to notice that it will show us sales for this subcategory for these different segments that is in it. So for phones, the base office segment sales were 27,000, consumer was 82, main office was 49. If we were to hover over chairs, it will show us the segment sales data for this bars. So depending on which bar we were to hover on, it will show us sales for that subcategory. So as you can see in our sheet 9, this shows us overall sales for which is for base it's 167,000. But when we were to hover over this, it shows us the sales data for this subcategory. And you can customize the width. You can increase the width, increase the height. Click on OK, and since we are working with a table right now, the height and the width has not changed. But if we were to maybe turn this into a pie chart and increase the size, once we were to hover over it, it will show us the data for this subcategory. So bookcases, this is the pie chart which shows sales. Currently we don't have the marks enabled on it. In order to show the numbers right next to it, we can just come back to sheet 9. We can include the marks, and maybe we can include the name of the segment as well. So all we're going to do is drag the segment, press Control, drag the segment on top of the label, and it will show us the label main office. But we can also include the sales data. And once we go back, and when we were to hover over this, it will show us the sales and the segments for this pie chart. So currently, since we have increased the size, as you can see that there's a lot of white space on here. If we want to decrease it, we can go back and we can change it to 300. Click on OK. And once we were to hover over it, as you can see, the size has decreased. So you can play around with the settings for the width and the height. And this is how the tooltip mark works in Tableau. You can include multiple sheets within it. Be aware, if you include a lot of different sheets, it will take time for each of those different sheets to load up and apply filtering for that subcategory. So it might slow up your dashboard depending on your data set. So as you can see, currently now is showing sales for the binders, and the sheet that we had selected was a bar chart, showing us the binder sales for this subcategory, and then it's also dividing it by segments for us. So this is how the Viz tooltip works in Tableau.